Hey guys, how's it going? Michael Troy here. Today we have another exciting comic book to look at. Always a good time when we look at a book by John Byrne. This is Silver Surfer, a one-shot from 1982 that is phenomenal. It's a double-sized issue, a plot by John Byrne, penciled by John Byrne, inked and colored by Tom Palmer, and scripted by Stan the Man himself, Lee. This is epic. It's gorgeous. This is the first time I've owned it and really read it, so as a huge Byrne fan, it was very exciting for me to discover this, even though I was aware of its existence, but we'll get into that. Anyway, so subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Let's get right into it. So I have to say, I plunked down like 15 bucks for this, and it's like 8.5 grade. I don't care about the grades, but a lot of times I'll buy like a book on eBay and I usually just go for the cheapest one. This kind of was the cheapest one, and it's in great condition, so I'm excited about that. This cover is freaking gorgeous. I cannot believe how gorgeous this is. This might not have been on my radar for so long just because it's inked by Tom Palmer, and I'm not a huge fan of the Byrne Palmer combination, although this is freaking gorgeous, as you will see in a moment. But I just love John Byrne so much, and I'm so used to like him inking himself or Terry Austin that it always throws me off when someone like Tom Palmer or Klaus Janson or Joe Sinnott inks him, because they're very overpowering, very distinct. It creates a certain aesthetic, but you know what? It's gorgeous. I was thinking about Tom Palmer earlier, because I just ordered the John Buscema IDW Artist Edition, which is interesting because I do want to talk about Artist Edition as well. But I was just thinking how much I love John Buscema's work, and how him and Tom Palmer drew most of the Avengers run that is like my Avengers, and I enjoyed their work together. And it was a lot of heavy lifting by like Tom Palmer. He really does definitely bring a lot of the artistry to it. Works really great, especially on rough pencils or breakdowns. And the pencils I've seen from this, though, are not rough or breakdowns. They're fairly full pencils. So, like this splash page here is absolutely gorgeous. The pencils for this were reproduced in either Focus on John Byrne. I want to say it was Focus on John Byrne or The Art of John Byrne, but I know it has to be Focus on John Byrne because this came out after The Art of John Byrne. Anyway, Stan Lee script, John Byrne plot and pencils, Tom Palmer inking and coloring, Rick Parker lettering. I love Rick Parker's lettering. I remember his letters from Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man, I believe. Jim Shooter, Chief. This is such a beautiful page, and like if you can track down the pencils for this, it's totally gorgeous. We need to see this like in an artist edition. The art is so beautiful. It really does have a lot of the Tom Palmer aesthetic to it, which it's funny because I feel like a lot of Byrne fans are like me. They, as much as they like an inker like Tom Palmer, they're not super crazy about his inks just because it really does overpower in a lot of ways. But I don't know. I mean, he's still a very talented inker, and I feel like Byrne particularly likes him because he inked Neil Adams on the X-Men, and Byrne is like, you know, famously like influenced by Adams early in his career, and probably likes that aesthetic brought to his art, and used him for the finisher on X-Men the Hidden Years, so he was definitely going through that aesthetic. So, I mean, and don't get me wrong, this book is absolutely gorgeous. It's dripping with Byrne goodness. I love that it's a Byrne plot and pencils, and I love that Stan Lee is doing the script. I think that Stan Lee gets a lot of flack. It's like, you know, like we tear people down after we build them up, and, you know, Stan Lee is like part and parcel Marvel Comics. I mean, yes, of course, Jack Kirby, like, is definitely the silent hero there. Once again, from the Focus on John Byrne book, I believe they published the pencils for this. And this is freaking amazing. It looks great, but you should definitely see the pencils. Like, the pencils are, like, to die for. Like, they're so tight and beautiful. And That reminds me, the cartoonist K-Fight guys, hey guys, what's up? Love your channel. Recently did this very issue that we're looking at. Usually I beat them to the punch, but they beat me on this one, especially on a Byrne book. Oh my God, whatever. Anyway, so they were kind of saying like it's one of Byrne's best artistic accomplishments, and is that, you know, attributed to the inker? And I say the nay. If you see the original pencils for this, you will know that while Tom Palmer definitely did a beautiful job finishing and coloring this, it was all there in the pencils. It was completely stunting and beautiful. And of course, we all know this famous image here that was used for some rock band or something. God, I should know who it is. And I know. All you guys, all you Byrne fans are like dying and screaming at the whatever you're watching this on now and saying, you know, of course it's this, you idiot. But why would I know? I don't care. I just knew it was used. But kind of interesting how that happened, right? I do have to say I love the, and it's kind of smart that Tom Palmer colored this. Like, especially, he seems very technically proficient, like with a lot of the gimmicks and tricks and tools and techniques. Like, he's always bringing a lot of texture and hatching, and like, I do love his zipatone. But like, I feel like the faces are a little off for like Byrne. You know what I mean? Like, just like the shading and stuff, I mean, that's definitely more Tom Palmer shading. It looks a little EC-ish, you know, sort of like horror comic. And I like a cleaner, you know, crisper look for Byrne's pencils. But that's just me. I love this though. This is like so much fun. And like I said, the Stan Lee dialogue is everything. It is so dramatic and over the top, and it adds such a gravitas. It's like almost like reading an opera or something. One of the things I realized, because they kind of recap the Silver Surfer's origin about how, you know, his planet was going to be devoured by Galactus, and to spare the life of his love, Shalabal, and his home planet, he vowed to be Galactus's herald and forever find him worlds to devour. And I thought, wow, what a selfish son of a bitch. That is the most horrifying. That makes him like the worst villain in the Marvel Universe, if you ask me. Because, I mean, it is one thing... I don't know, like, wow, I mean, you're just really, just to save your love and your planet, you're gonna just, like, screw everybody else. What a giver, Silver Surfer, how heroic, I don't know. And I feel like he's called out for that at certain points, you know, and it's funny because that reminded me of the trial of Reed Richards, you know, by saving Galactus's life, arguably you're condemning, you know, millions, if not billions. Always, of course, good to see John Byrne drawing the Fantastic Four. 1982, so I guess this is, like, during his run. Yeah, he's already on FF. Also fun, though, is to see, like, Stan Lee scripting this. There's such great art in here. There really is. Like, I love all the space scenes, and just like, I mean, they're just really bringing it. I mean, you can tell that John Byrne kind of loves to draw Silver Surfer. Like, panels like this are so good. And there's that zip. And I forgot to point it out because I do love the frickin' Baxter building. One of my favorite comic book architectural designs. Whenever I would draw my submissions for Marvel Comics, I would always draw the Baxter building somewhere in the background. It must have really blown them away by all those form rejection letters they sent me. I mean, they weren't all form in their defense, but they were rejections nonetheless. Anyway, good times. Ooh, I mean, this is just so good. Like, some of the shading and, like, the negative space and the spotting of blacks, like, I don't know, killing it. It's like Tom Palmer, it really is good. And I have to say certain panels just really pop out, and this is definitely one of them. I mean, that is so cool. And the use of Geo Shade is like throughout. See, I'm so curious to know if like, I would love to see this like as an artist edition or a noir edition or some sort of special edition where we get to see Byrne's pencils, preferably at 11 by 17. Once again, Scott Dunbier. Okay, this is the opportunity. We interrupt this MichaelFitzTroytv video retro comic flip through nostalgic review to bring you this important message that I once again have a demand for an artist edition. We need, like, I feel like there's nothing in the works for another Byrne edition, and like they could just do a new one every year for the rest of my life, and I would be happy. But so famously, the last Galactus story, John Byrne, you know, for Epic Illustrated, they canceled Epic Illustrated. Never got to finish the last Galactus story. Through a series of whatever, I'm sure, burning bridges and blah, blah, blah. Fighting with editors, maybe, or just like coming back and forth in Marvel. And editorial change. Like, I'm not just going to blame Byrne's temper, even though it sounds easy to do. But it never got finished is the point. Even though Byrne knows what it is and he said it. I think it has like 10 or 12 pages. So it was suggested to like publish the last, Galactus story in its entirety, finish it in an artist edition, and Byrne was down for that. And so let's make that happen, IDW or somebody. Like, shit or get off the pot. This stuff isn't going to do itself. Oh, so anyway, though, this is like your answer there to make it more full-fledged. Make it a Silver Surfer artist edition, John Byrne's Silver Surfer artist edition. Include this graphic novel. Finished pages, pencil pages, whatever. Include the last Galactus story. And include the new ending to the Galactus story. And there you go. Just start printing money, why don't you? I mean, people love Byrne. The other ones had to sell well, right? I mean, their resale is, like, ridiculous. So, anyway. See, this is sort of like the morality, hey, I saved your planet, bitches. What are you doing? Well, we're gonna attack you anyway, Nora and Rad. If he dies 1,000 deaths, it will not be punishment enough. Yes, Stanley dialogue. Oh my God, it's living for the Stanley dialogue. This page, like, the emotional impact of this page is so amazing. And once again, you should see it in its pencils. To create this sort of effect, John Byrne, like, basically draws the page, and then he just takes the eraser and rubs out the like, sunlight. And it's just so cool. I always looked at that and was like, oh my God, I would, like, be so intimidated to ink that. But Tom Palmer kind of pulled it off, don't you think? Good on you, Tom Palmer. Anyway, as I go back and forth, I love panels like that. That is so cool. That's like such a Superman kind of panel right there. I mean, and it's so, like, the thought also occurred to me because a lot of people say that, John Byrne's run on the Fantastic Four. And let's face it, is the Silver Surfer story essentially not a Fantastic Four story, or at least a Fantastic Four family story? But anyway, Byrne's run on FF is only second to Kirby and Lee, so it's kind of cool to like see this and have Byrne like pencil and plot it, and then have Lee script it. It must have been. I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't know 100% how Byrne feels about Lee, but I think he likes him and respects him. I hope he loved this, because it's freaking amazing. And Doom, Dr. Doom, of course. See, that isn't giving me like great Byrne Doom here. This definitely looks more like a Tom Palmer panel to me. And once again, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's a John Byrne drawn book, and I know it's tight full pencils, so give me my artist edition, people. I do love John Byrne's Mephisto. The color holds on these are amazing. And so prevalent. Like, they've just, you know, it's like, you know, I mean, obviously this was a special edition, so maybe, you know, you have a bigger deadline than like a monthly comic book, but just totally putting it in. But that's the one thing you can't say about Tom Palmer, as like, I always felt like, as a finisher and an artist, you know, it's subjective at best, I guess. You know, whether you like his style or not, who he's complimentary with as a finisher, but he always gives 110%, and it shows in every like panel of just slapping down the ink and doing the work, and just the level of artistry. I mean, he's such a pro, like just like the shading and just the way the blacks are always done so perfect. I wondered, because it kind of out of the corner of my eye, and it makes kind of perfect sense that they would do it, even though it would be kind of ironic, and I don't know if it was more Byrne or Palmer, but I do know that Byrne loves the Muppets, so I kind of feel like this is the Swedish Chef here, and I would love it if it was, but I can't say that. But then it does remind me of Byrne getting pissed at Terry Austin for putting Popeye in the background of one of the X-Men comic books. So I don't know that he's putting the Swedish Chef in a Silver Surfer graphic novel written by Stan Lee, but hey, maybe it's an Easter egg. Maybe somebody on the Byrne Robotics forum can ask him, you know, and tell him to watch this video. Tell him I have the rest of his career laid out. He's going to finish the last Galactus story. I know you're in a slump because you just had cataract surgery, and but, you know, artists always have slumps. Snap out of it, as Cher said, and pick up that pencil. Let's finish the last Galactus story. Then we're going to return to Elsewhere, and we're going to call it John Byrne's Elsewhere, and you're going to do whatever story you feel like, whatever motivates you, whatever you get out of bed and feel like putting the pencil on the paper for Byrne, because we love you and we want you to continue to draw. And this is why. I mean, look at how freaking gorgeous this is. This is so epic. This, I mean, has this had like a better reprinting? I mean, it must have, right? I mean, how could you waste it? It's funny because the Palmer influence feels heavy in this panel just because of the detail in the hand. Doesn't necessarily feel, I feel like Byrne's hands are a little, not bad, but like sometimes they just look like baseball mitts with hot dogs coming out of them. And there's some real like bone and muscle in those going on. Seeing that, it looks like, you know, Byrne draws such pretty women and stuff. This looks like very, very, very Tom Palmer. Which, once again, is fine, but I don't know. If you know what I'm talking about by the original pencils, it's like bewitching. And I don't use that word very often. Okay, maybe once or twice a day, but another cool splash page. I mean, this book is just epic. It's funny because, you know, Silver Surfer has tried to have, like, series and stuff. But I feel like he's kind of one of those characters, like, if you overuse him, it takes away from the impact of the story. Because there's always such heavy gravity to his stories and situations that I think you can't just have that month after month. You know what I mean? It has to be, what a freaking panel to end on that is fucking, that is flippin' gorgeous. All this duo shade, the composition of this panel, although interesting that it's not cropped properly. I wonder, I mean, at this point in time, too bad. I wonder what they were thinking, maybe with the printing. It would have worked better, like, with a full bleed. And I don't think they had that capability at the printing process at the time, unless they would have done, like, a more high-end thing, which they totally should have. I mean, $1, I would have paid $1.25 for this. It's so worth it. I would have paid $2 for better printing and a page bleed like that. I mean, you guys, do yourself a favor, Byrne fans. get this book if you don't have it, and you probably do, and you're like, haha, I've had it forever, I bought it off the newsstands, and you've been depriving yourself all these years. Michael Fitzgerald Troy. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. I super appreciate it. Yay, another Byrne video. Love Byrne. Cannot wait to do the next one. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that like button. Share my content. Turn on the notifications. And stay gold, Pony Boy. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, guys.